Hello, welcome to the Rhythm of Business podcast. I am your host, Dr. Terry Daniels, and I'm here with Sten Morgan, who is the founder of Legacy out of the Franklin, Tennessee area. Sten, so glad to have you and glad you can come on and share with the audience just so your background experiences. So just to get us started, can't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you launched off into this entrepreneurial world that you're in?
You bet. No, I appreciate you having me on. And I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. I grew up single mom. I think the story was work to eventually not have to struggle. Go to the
Wow.
grocery store without stressing out. You know, don't stress out while you feel like the ultimate goal is
Yeah.
uh, survival to some degree. And so I had no baseline for what does it look like to thrive or run a business. It was pay your bills and then have momentary trips or
Yeah.
or kind of highlights that you would reflect on someday. And so that's all I knew. And we were all a product of our environment to some degree. Our mindset
Absolutely.
is formed. And fortunately, I had a few things happen when I was young that made me observe other people and say, to myself, this is 12, 13. Those people don't seem to be working harder than us, but they seem like they're doing better than us.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was all money. It seems like they have nicer cars, bigger houses. They're taking trips. The kids seem less stressed. Like, I wonder what's different about them. But my motivation through high school and college, and I played sports, was just someday to just grind a little less hard.
Wow.
And it wasn't until college when I said, "Hey, what's finance?" Well, it seems like if you know something about money and managing it, seems like those people have it, and I need to figure out because nobody in my family knows how to manage it well. So I went down the financial planning advisory route, not knowing that that's a heavy sales business
Yeah.
and you're essentially running a business. At times, I'm frustrated that nobody sat me down and told me what I was getting into, but also at the same time, if they did, I probably wouldn't have done it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so going into it blindly was kind of a benefit. And so for me, I kind of stumbled into entrepreneurship, and I thank God all the time that He helped me recognize in different situations that I naturally pick out inefficiencies and I kind of get frustrated and I rub the status quo. And there's a lot of people in organizations that don't like that.
Yeah.
That type of person bothers a lot of people in leadership because they're not just content with putting their head down and working.
Absolutely.
And so the fact I went into entrepreneurship ended up fitting my personality perfectly. I just didn't know it early on.
Was the spark based upon just wanting to do something different? What was that initial spark that sort of said, I want this space, I want to challenge? Like you said, if they told you what to expect, you might not have gone down that road. But what was that spark?
For me, it was I had an issue with authority from a young age, which I've learned since then over the years. The best leaders also follow. They're part of a great team, and so
Yeah.
I was so slightly contentious, not curious enough, just kind of bulldozing my way to success. Because as I started making great money in my 20s, I was able to help my mom and help my sisters,
Yeah.
and that kind of fed that desire to keep winning.
Yeah.
Uh, in sales, winning is great. You're isolated, you sell, you make money, but as you grow a company, and so I think my spark was initially for financial success, stability for those around me, and then I started realizing, well, what it meant. Actually, I was an entrepreneur. I was running a business, even though it was mainly sales focused.
Mhm.
But what got me there wasn't going to get me forward, and so that's when I started having to hire team members, and I was like, wait, this is actually a business now. And so the spark, I think, was out of desperation. I think there was a heart there to help others, um, but I didn't realize for quite a while what it meant to run a business, lead people. That was something I had to learn after I had somewhat achieved success,
Yes.
written a book. People asked me to speak at conferences, and I had yet to unlock this business owner curiosity
Yeah.
that's kind of been my journey for the last 7, 8 years now, is trying to get better at that.
So what, as you think about that audience out there, those individuals who may be in business and want to get in business, what are some of the misconceptions that are out there about being a business owner or an entrepreneur? What are some of those?
I think there's one misconception that the best business owners kind of hold tight to their closest secrets.
Yeah.
I think as a young entrepreneur, I was kind of more in like a closed environment of like, I'm going to keep my secrets and just kind of try to grind this out and be successful. I realize now, and we create a lot of content that we share for free in the financial advisor space,
Yeah.
is a lot of times those people are happy to share. I always hoped for like this mentor where like the clouds would part and it would be essentially the person I wanted to be 20 years from now that
Yeah.
would just walk with me every day. My situation's been more of like a mentor by committee to where I bump into people at different times. You know, the Lord says, here's this person, and I get to, you know, get poured in by them, and then it's somebody else. But I wish I would have picked my head up and been a little more curious and asked for help because man, I took some stuff on the chin, and we're all
Yeah.
facing the same issues. We're all
Yeah.
learning the same lessons over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, in my story, it was I wish I would have leaned in and asked for help sooner, as opposed to assuming we're all out there just fighting against each other because
Yeah.
there's more than enough opportunity for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you think about growing this business that you've grown and sounds like you've done exceptionally well, which no surprise, just meeting you, how
Yeah.
do you have that balance? People call it work-life balance. I call it life-life balance.
Yeah.
How do you have balance while you're trying to grow your business and do all the other things, work with family and those things? How do you keep that balance? Find that rhythm?
Earlier in my career, it was a commitment to myself to work from 8 to 5:15. Didn't have a dad around growing up, and so with my three kids, it was like I'm going to be there. So I never worked weekends, and I was, you know, with them in the mornings and with them at night. It forced me to operate within some guardrails. I still had the same aspirations. I still wanted to be just as successful, but I had to do it within this block of time I gave myself. And it forced me to be more creative. It forced me to look at what other people were doing and saying, okay, for them to be successful, they're overworking. It seems
Yeah.
like they're wasting time in their day. So I had to take the status quo and kind of break it. Within a lot of our coaching, we call it reject average.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to look at what everybody's doing, getting results that I'm not really excited about. And instead of copying them and trying to do what they're doing harder and longer than them, I'm going to just say, I reject that. I'm going to go figure something else out. And
Yeah.
so early on, it was rules of when I could work, and I still wanted to be successful. Over time, there's a great book called Who Not How. I realized as I grew my main company and other companies started, I had to have other people helping run them. Like there's no way I could have maintained balance trying to create new things, writing books, doing podcasts, speaking around the country. Like those would not be possible to still be with my three kids all the time and go on
Yeah.
trips and be at their school
Yeah.
events until I started building out the who's. And so I
Yeah.
got much better at recognizing, Sten, there's only so much you can do with these boundaries. Now you need to go find people that are better at you at things. And that was kind of the last run of, 4 or 5 years was like, where are these people and how can I get them into the organization?
Yeah. So with that question there, again, you started out with your passion. You started out with this drive. You wanted to make some differences with your family, your mom, your sisters. So
Mhm.
how do you integrate people into this? People management is not something that we all learn along the way, and they may not have the same drive and passions. How did you integrate them as you're trying to grow your business? How did you manage through that?
Not well. What I've learned about, and I found the most successful people I've met are the most aware of themselves. They're not great at everything, but they know what they're good at and what they're not. We can all get better at things, but I've met leaders that are just naturally charismatic. They pull people in. They're great cheerleaders. My leadership style is like, hey, I'm going to be out in front of the pack and I'm going to show you. And I want you to follow me because he cares about us and he's showing us by example. I'm not naturally like the cheerleader type. And so I have to help get people around me that are better at that.
Okay.
The biggest win that we're accomplishing now is just really clear expectations. Do people know what their job is? Do they know what it looks like to be successful in the job? And are we communicating consistently about it? Because if early on in my career, I'd put somebody in a role and I'd say, go get them. I'm here to help if you need me. Because that's how I would have been led. And I did successful. Now I was successful because I just ran and figured it out on my own. Most people are not wired that way. And if they are, they're probably going to start their own business.
Yeah.
And so as business owners, we have to say, okay, we don't want to have a bunch of business owners here. We don't want to hire ourselves necessarily, but we want people that think like business owners to some degree within an organization. But clarity is a gift. If you have somebody work for you and you tell them what their job is and what it looks like to be really successful, and then you celebrate them, that's the makings of a great culture. I will forever be intense. I will forever not be easy to work with because I'm not just here to hang out and not try new things and experiment. Legacy, most people would say, wow, you've grown a great financial planning firm. You work with a lot of business owners on their financial planning. You've been recognized nationally. Now you can just hang out. And it's like, no, we're going to figure out how to do it better now. And to do it better, you almost have to break things. And people on a team, if you start breaking things without telling them, they're going to be like, wait, what are you doing? And so I'm still in flux. I would say I'm still learning how to do that well. But I would tell the business owners listening, appreciate who you are as a leader, celebrate it. Don't beat yourself up, but be really honest about what about your leadership style turns people off, pushes people away, and how can you get better at talking about it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you use some magic words for me right there, Stan, in that clarity and expectations, awareness. Those three words are magical words, and
Oh, yeah.
you honed in on those really well, and I think that's key. So how do you grow? Where's growth going to go for you? I know you've built this business, you added on, you've brought people in. Where's your growth go from here, and what might be some challenges with that?
So I'm in a season now of trying to remove myself as the rainmaker or primary force behind our success. Uh, what's been scary about that is when I step back is now watching this void and saying, okay, is this void going to get filled? And younger leaders, Sten, would have stepped away and said, okay, somebody figure it out. And I'm expecting people that haven't been equipped or trained to do this thing to step in and take over a business. And now I'm saying, okay, I'm going to step back, but I'm here and I'm here to coach
Yeah,
you through it. But sometimes that means somebody doesn't respond to a client when they should, and the client's unhappy. And so I've had to accept less than desirable deliverables, and we always make it right and we follow up. But like what it does to me as a business owner when somebody doesn't get called back when they should, or we
mhm,
don't get something completed the day we said we would, like that drives me crazy. That's just part of my personality and why
yeah,
I've been successful. But when working with other people, you're going to have to let them fail, and hopefully it's in a controlled environment, so it's not a big failure. But I need to let other people step up because the ultimate goal for us as business owners is not to create a really hard job for ourselves.
yeah, yeah,
Then you're a bad boss for yourself.
yeah,
If you want
yeah,
to be a business owner, that business can actually thrive without you. And so my vision and hope is I can find these great people and I could compensate them and motivate them in the right way that someday when Sten walks in the office and I have my group of clients I serve, the energy here is high. The numbers are going in the right direction. And essentially someday somebody's like, wait, who are you? And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I used to work here, And so
I used to work here. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
I'm
the goal and
sorry.
the vision is that this is bigger than Sten. There's a reason it's not Sten Morgan Wealth Management, and um, because there's 13 families now that are benefiting from these companies existing, um, and how can that go on beyond me?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think a lot of companies don't figure that out.
yeah,
Some do. That book, Good to Great. It's like a lot of us get to a place to where as owners we're making enough money to live a comfortable life,
yeah,
and that could be it. Or we can sell the business and be done. That's fine too. I don't know what 10 years holds for me, but I know in the next sprint I'm going to become a better leader, a better motivator, and I want to help people rise to a level where on their own they never thought they could.
yeah, yeah.
I think that would be fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Last question, Stan. As you think about back when you were sitting in that space with that napkin in front of you, a piece of paper in front of you, like, I want to do something different, right?
Yeah.
Uh, if you were talking to entrepreneurs or people that desire to be entrepreneurs, what advice would you give them to take that leap, to take that step? How would you help them navigate this path?
Really practically, I have this system that I kind of have worked through for a long time. I call it the 3 stages of growth, and it's awareness, understanding, and belief. And we have to work our way through this whenever we're trying to make a decision or learn something new. First, something has to trigger us. So if you're listening and you're like, I want to become a business owner, there's something in you that has caused you to be aware of what could be. So you see a business owner and all the things they do, and you're like, okay, it looks like business owners make more money, and it seems like they have more time. So you have an awareness that entrepreneurship could be a good thing for you. The next step is extreme curiosity. It's understanding. It's now my goal for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months is to be so curious and intense about figuring out what does it mean to be a business owner? Can I go meet with 20 business owners and say, are you glad you did it? What did you learn? Because then without being a business owner, you're learning all these things. So by the time you make the leap, you're going in as eyes wide open as you can. And then the final one is belief. And this is where it's like, I understand it's possible. I'm aware it's possible. I understand how people are doing it. Now, do I believe I can do it? And so much of believing you can do it is borrowing other people's confidence.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship is so lonely at times.
Yeah.
And we coach a lot of financial advisors too. And financial advisors, that's a very lonely business.
Yes.
Is you need community. You need coaching is huge. Like, don't go out there just guessing in the dark. Like you're going to hurt yourself, hurt your family. Ask for feedback, take advice. Don't take it personal. Be really curious. And so I walk myself through that a lot where I'm like, okay, what am I aware of? This is a new thing. Do I understand what's happening? And do I believe I can do it? And that's something that just helps kind of recalibrate my mindset. So I'll be honest with you, there 12-year-old Sten is still in the head being like, dude, what are you doing? You don't deserve this. People in your family don't have success like you're having. Maybe you're faking it. And I think all of us have a voice that'll never go away.
Yeah.
The hope is that the future version of ourselves that's more mature, that's more curious, that voice is actually the louder one.
Yeah.
And it coaches that trauma voice or whatever we're bringing with us along the way. It kind of coaches that one. So that voice to me now says, Sten, you're good.
Yeah.
And you're doing a great job with what you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't give up. Like, let's be
Yeah.
curious. You can always get better. And so that internal dialogue from a lot of counseling and a lot of reading, there's a business side of it. And you can do all the practical things and you can will yourself to be successful. But there's a lot of kind of internal work to be done in the business space to eventually be the patient, quiet person in the corner that doesn't have to announce themselves, that everybody's like, wait, do you know who that person is? And I'm still on that journey. But it's fun. It's hard, but it's fun.
Well, Stan, I'll tell you what, for the audience, they have gotten a treat. I mean, I can see why you're highly sought after, and your messages are so crystal clear. And for the audience that's listening, I mean, you have had a treat. I would challenge you to look up Sten Morgan out of Franklin, Tennessee, Legacy founder. So he is an awesome young man. So thank you so much for being with us today. And to the audience, we hope you come back and listen again. But we've had with us today Sten Morgan, the founder of Legacy out of Franklin, Tennessee. Look him up. You will find someone exciting to talk to. So Sten, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to hearing from you later.